let's get our full-blown acceleration. Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video, we're gonna be going over a 2021 Nissan Armada in the SL package. But first and foremost, a huge shout out and thank you to Tim Daly Nissan here in Murray, Utah for giving me some time with this Armada. Check out their inventory in the link below. Let's get straight into the video. Under the hood of the Armada, we have a naturally aspirated 5.6 liter V8 that goes through a 7-speed automatic transmission. Fuel economy is 13 around town and then 18 on the highway, with power outputs being 400 horsepower and then 413 pound-feet of torque. Now let's go over the front end of the new Armada. So first off, there's nothing too crazy happening there with the hood, but it's absolutely massive. And then coming down to the lights, this is where you can really tell that this is, well, a new Armada. You've got new LED accent lights and the new LED headlights as well. They are super, super bright. I know it's hard to tell on camera, but right now I'm getting completely blinded. And notice that they're going for a certain design language with all their new vehicles. So like this is the new Armada, obviously, and then you guys can see all of the Rogues over here. They're kind of going for like a similar design language on all of their cars, which I think it looks pretty cool and unique. And then coming down below, we do have the fog lights. This does have parking sensors here in the front, and then you still get the Nissan smiley face right there. And then notice the logo has been changed a little bit. There's a camera just down below the logo. And then notice the metallic gray here at the bottom where you'd put a skid plate. But yeah, other than that, there's the front end on the Armada. Now coming around the side here, we've got two 75mm tires wrapped around 20-inch wheels in the front and over in the rear as well. As for the design on the wheels, I think Nissan absolutely killed it. They look absolutely fantastic with the rest of the vehicle, and you guys will see that in just a moment. And then the other thing to mention is this does have body painted fender flares, which I think look really good. And then by the way, this isn't just a regular white, it is kind of like a metallic white, so you guys can see the flake right there. And they got this cool venting here on the side with the V8 badge. The mirrors are kind of like two tones. You've got the white at the top, the black at the bottom. Chrome door handles. This does come with side steps as well, but there is the full side view on the Armada. Let's pop into the back of the Armada. So first off, we've got all of our Armada floor mats right here. There's a little bit of extra storage space just under that little section right there. And then just notice kind of like the overall storage space here in the back. And then with the seats, you actually just pull this little tab, and then that's what lets you basically throw the seat forward or pull it back, whatever you want. And then when you are done, you just release the tab, and then that's all good to go. This also does come with a 12 volt in the back, and that's everything for the back of the Armada. Let's go over the rest of the rear of the Armada. So first off, I absolutely love the LED lights here in the back. I think they look really good with the overall theme of the Armada. I think the back end's my favorite part with this new Armada. And then you got the giant Armada logo there in the rest of the back. And then notice here at the top, we do have little crossbars and everything. Now, down here at the bottom, we do have parking sensors, and then we do have a tow package. So towing capacity is over 8,000 pounds, and then the payload is 1,477 pounds. And that's everything for the rear. Now let's go over the door panel here in the back of the Armada. So first off, really nice leather here in the back, and I love how it like has like the little crinkles. Kind of reminds me of like old school cars. Absolutely just love that look. Brings me back. And then really nice leather here. You're going to rest your arm as well. It's just really soft to the touch. See, you got stitching all over. Beautiful wood trim, and then you've got one of the speakers for the sound system, another one just down below. And then here are the seats in the rear. So this one does have the captain chair set up. So again, beautiful leather seats, nice perforations here in the center portion of the seat. And then you got the nice piping as well. And then notice again, we have the side steps. So stepping in here is actually really easy. So that helps out with getting in and out. And then if you guys are wondering, I'm 5'11". I have a good amount of headroom just up above me. Legroom is fantastic as well. You can control the climate controls here from the rear. And then we do have the center console that comes with these captain chairs. So there's some cup holders, and then we do get like an actual center console here for the back row, which is pretty unique. And I mean, it also doubles as an armrest. Like right now, I feel like a king. And then as for the third row, so you guys can see you've got those massive headrests that kind of look like the droid heads from Star Wars. Like, think about like the droids from Star Wars. Like, that's what that seat looks like. It's pretty interesting. But there's some cup holders and everything. And then you still get the nice perforations and all that. As for the legroom and the headroom's good back there. Legroom's a little bit more on the cramped side compared to the second row, but you can fit adults back there. go over the door panel here at the front of the Armada. So again, you've got that same leather here at the top portion, and then on the armrest as well. All of your window controls, you've got your mirror adjustments, and then the wood trim. And then notice in the wood trim, you've got your memory seat function. And then coming over here to the front seats, just as nice as the seats in the rear, you've got the nice perforated leather here in the center portion, the nice piping on the side. They are power adjustable. And then there's a quick look at the pedals just down below. And then this is actually for the power door to turn it on or off, which is pretty neat. Got that for the tailgate. And the steering wheel is automatically adjustable. And there's one more look before we actually pop in. Here's our steering wheel in the new Armada. So you've got leather around the steering wheel and then nice stitching there on the center portion. And then we've got a bunch of controls on the steering wheel itself. So you do have the controls for the cruise control system, and it does have the follow function. You've got your phone control and voice command control just down below. And then you get your volume controls and the radio controls just there on the other side of the steering wheel. But overall, definitely nice little steering wheel. I like the piano black there on the center portion. And then you do have the stock for the lights and the turn signals, and then you've got the stock for the windshield wipers on the other side. And then another thing I want to mention before we go to the center screen, I love how the wood trim kind of continues in one line, like this all connects right here. I think that was a nice design touch. Now here for the gauge cluster, they've mixed a screen with some analog gauges, which is kind of my preference. I hate it when cars are just like a giant screen there in the center. So this is nice that you get the best of both worlds. But first off, we do have this little center screen right here, which does have a couple different menus you can scroll through. You guys can see this shows fuel economy. There's also a little compass. You've got your little radio tab. But literally there's a bunch of different menus. Basically it's just vehicle information and information on the radio and the settings for it and all that. So nothing too crazy, but we'll just leave it on the home tab. Now here's the center infotainment system. First off, if we pop it into reverse, a backup camera is going to pop up. The trajectory lines do turn with the steering wheel. You can see the orange line pops up, and it also does it there for the top camera as well. It does have that bird's eye view. And then this does have the power tilting mirrors, so when you pop it into reverse, the mirrors do tilt down, which is another nice little function, but that's for the camera aspect of the screen. Now, as for the rest of the infotainment system, first off, I think it looks really good in terms of the resolution for the screen. You've got all these shortcut buttons here at the bottom, and then response time on this screen is really good. Like you press a button and you get an instantaneous response. And so other than that, I don't have much else to say about the infotainment system other than it looks good and it responds really well. Now, just down below the infotainment system, we've got analog controls for the radio. We've got a couple vents here in this little area, and then we've got our dual zone climate controls. Remember, you've got the climate zone for the rear, and then you have two for the front, and then this does come with the nice little heated seats. Now, this is my favorite part. So it says Armada on the top, but you basically just click that little button right there. The tab will open up, and then this hides a wireless phone charger on the one side. There's a 12 volt on the other side. But yeah, I just think it's cool that they like hide that. If you don't want it, then you can be like, yeah, no, I don't want you, but I do want to look at my beautiful wood trim. Trailer brake controls are already integrated as well, and then we do have a couple areas for USBs. Now, I've got a bunch more happening here. So this is the shifter for that 7-speed automatic transmission. It's just a normal shifter, so it goes forwards and backwards. Pretty simple, pretty easy to get used to. And then we do have our drive line select / drive mode select here on this little dial. So it basically twists for the drive modes, and then there's buttons around it. So you've got your snow mode, and then your tow mode, and then the stability control. Some cup holders just behind it. And then this is actually also for the infotainment system. So the screen responds really well, but if you don't want to use the screen, then you can use this little dial to scroll through things, and it does have some shortcut buttons to it as well. Like I can go to the camera system if I want, which is pretty neat. But yeah, overall, really good in terms of the response time with the buttons down here. And I love the fact that like I can use this as a touchscreen, or I can use this little thing if I prefer the analog format. Now we do have the center console here, so opening it up, storage space, pretty good. We got the little tray there all wrapped up for the first owner to put together. But on top of the center console, really nice material use. I just love the feel and look of it. And then coming over to the glove box, it's a pretty normal glove box. There's nothing too crazy to say about it. But again, notice with the wood trim how it all connects together. I think that's definitely nice design-wise. Now up top here, we do have a sunglass holder for your cool shades per usual. Just a traditional mirror. And then up top, we do have a little sunroof here for the front passengers. And then lighter colored headliner, which matches the rest of the theme of the interior. Now that we're done going to the interior on the Armada, let's quickly get into the pricing of the Armada. So in terms of pricing, this particular Armada in the SL package with all of the other packages, it has stickers for about $62,000 before any type of market adjustment. That all being said, let's take this Armada out and see how it drives. Well, let's talk about visibility before we set off here in this Armada. So visibility over the hood is actually really good. This is a pretty big sized SUV, but the hood doesn't seem that long here from the interior, which I really appreciate. And then there's your visibility through both of the mirrors. They are pretty big, and they do have blind spot monitoring. And then here's all throughout the rest of the rear, which I think this is probably the best visibility I've seen in an SUV of this size. Like, the windows are absolutely massive. And I mean, that's a benefit of having kind of like a boxier type design like this has, is you get really good visibility. And let's set off. We are initially setting off here in the 2021 Armada, and first off, driving through the parking lot and everything, like, again, this didn't feel massive. Like, it's very easy to manage, and again, I love that about this, that it doesn't feel absolutely massive like some of the other SUVs in this segment. But first, getting up and going, it's actually pretty nice. It's got good low-end torque, which is another nice little thing. And the steering's super light. There is some vagueness to it. That's definitely a thing. But I mean, compared to its competitors, it's right where it needs to be. So, I mean, no complaints there. But getting up and going, definitely smooth from a ride quality standpoint. When you do go over stuff, you definitely feel like this road's pretty beat up. I can feel the stuff I'm going over, but I mean, it's average. Everything about this so far is pretty much right where it needs to be segment-wise. And we'll see how the brakes are. Yeah, so it kind of feels more like a truck from a braking perspective, where when you push into the pedal a little bit, pretty much nothing happens. And then when you push in harder, then it really bites down with the brakes. And so if you're used to driving a truck, then this is gonna feel just pretty much, you're gonna feel right at home with this from a braking perspective. And getting another turn here, yeah, just handles so nice. And I actually like the sound of this 5.6 liter V8. Definitely has a nice deep sound to it, but it's not overly intrusive. It doesn't like fill up the cabin and get really annoying or anything like that. It's like you get some nice V8 sound, but it's not going to give you a headache after driving it. So this is the little area we're going through just before we get our full-blown acceleration, and this road is really beat up, and it's handling it really well. It doesn't upset it. Like some SUVs in this segment, and especially trucks, they definitely will kind of dance around with the back end, but they've perfectly kind of like distributed the weight in this where it doesn't do that. Like, you definitely feel the bumps and stuff when you go over it, but it doesn't upset the vehicle and kind of go over all the place, which that's something that I always look for in vehicles like this, that they're easy to drive. And oh my gosh, that guy's wheel is completely sideways. That is horrible. But let's get our full-blown acceleration. Oh, that sounds good. It sounds really good under throttle. Like, that sounds good. I love that sound. Acceleration's pretty good. You guys heard the power figures. This is right where it needs to be compared to its competitors in the segment from an acceleration standpoint. And I'm gonna slow down just to get one more little blip of the throttle there. Oh, that's such a nice sound. I love this engine. It sounds just beautiful. So let's get into setting things up here with the Armada. So first off, from an exterior aesthetics perspective, I definitely think the back end is where it's at with this new Armada. I think it looks a lot better than the front end. The front end, it's got Nissan's current design language, so I mean, it's got that going for it. I just think that they did a better job with the back end on this. From the interior perspective, I love the interior. I think the material use is nice. The seats are perfect. I think the seats are the high point. They look really nice, but they're very comfortable to sit in. They're very plush. The cushioning's perfect. And then from the driving perspective, it's really nice. The acceleration's great. We're at 4,500 feet elevation, and I feel like it's got more than enough power. It sounds really good, and the driving experience is really good. This is kind of everything that you'd expect from a bigger, kind of like more luxury-esque type SUV. And so yeah, if you're looking for a big luxury third-row SUV that you can tow with, then check out the new Armada. And there's one in black. I think I like it more in black than in this white, because it just kind of has a kind of like more of a stealth look to it. Now, that is going to sum things up for our video on this 2021 Nissan Armada. And again, a huge shout out and thank you to Tim Daly Nissan here in Murray for giving me some time with this Armada. Check out their inventory in the link below. I'll see all of you in the next video.